Football is full of things that sound completely surprising, like the stripes on a football pitch actually have the same color, like some football stadiums are designed to shake, like certain stadiums can make a crowd sound louder than it actually is, and in some parts of the world, that football pitches have underfloor heating. For the grass, most people watch football every week and never question any of it. But hidden beneath the goals, the crowds, and the celebrations is an enormous amount of engineering. Engineering that keeps the grass alive, engineering that controls vibrations, engineering that shapes the atmosphere inside the stadium. And once you understand what's really happening behind the scenes, you'll realize that some of the most fascinating parts of a football match are not the players at all. They are the things hiding in plain sight. Have you ever noticed the stripes on a football pitch? What if I told you that they're not painted? In fact, those stripes don't actually have different colors at all. It's the exact same grass. So why do some stripes look lighter and others look darker? The answer is surprisingly simple. Think about what happens when you brush your hand across a carpet. From one direction, the carpet looks lighter. Brush it the other way and suddenly it looks darker. Nothing changed except the direction that the fibers are leaning. A football pitch works exactly the same way. When the grass is cut, a heavy roller behind the mower bends the grass blades. One pass bends them this way, the next pass bends them the opposite way. When the grass bends towards you, it reflects more sunlight and it appears lighter as a result. When it bends away from you, it reflects less sunlight and appears darker. That's why the stripes appear, but here's the part most people don't realize. If you moved to the opposite side of a stadium, some of the light stripes would actually look dark and some of the dark stripes would actually look light because the grass itself has not changed, only your viewing angle has. The stripes are really just an optical illusion that are created by sunlight reflecting off grass that's leaning in different directions. And while the stripes were never intended for this purpose, they do have a very useful side effect. Those long, straight bands create visual reference lines across the pitch. Assistant referees in a soccer match can use them as an extra guide when judging offside decisions, and they can make distances and player positioning easier to judge for spectators like you and I that are watching from the stands or on television. So the next time you're watching a football match, remember this: those famous stripes aren't just paint. They're not different types of grass. They're simply sunlight bouncing off of millions of tiny grass blades that have been bent in opposite directions. Have you ever wondered how a football pitch stays perfectly green even when the weather turns against it? You'd think it's just great groundskeeping, but the real secret is hiding underground. In some of the world's coldest football stadiums, there's an entire network of pipes buried beneath the grass, and those pipes carry warm water. It's basically underfloor heating, just not for people, for grass. When temperatures drop below freezing, the system gently warms the soil to help protect the grass and keep the playing surface in top condition. Because at the highest level of football, the pitch itself is treated almost like an athlete. It has to stay healthy, it has to recover quickly, and it has to perform week after week. But here's what I find fascinating. Engineering is not just about finding one solution. It's about solving the problem that's actually in front of you. In colder parts of the world, that problem happens to be freezing temperatures. In a city like Durban in South Africa, it's more likely to be heavy rainfall. That's why the hidden engineering beneath football pitches can be completely different. Take our stadium, Moses Mabhida, for example. Beneath the grass of Moses Mabhida is a purpose-built drainage system designed to move water away from the playing surface as quickly as possible. To the fans, it just looks like grass, but underneath, it's working like a giant drainage machine. So whether it's heating systems in colder climates or drainage systems designed for weather conditions, the next time you watch a football match, remember, you're not just looking at a field. You're looking at an engineering solution designed specifically for the climate beneath it. If you frequently watch football matches, you'll sometimes notice that the entire stadium starts bouncing sometimes. Thousands of fans are jumping, singing, and celebrating at the same time. The stands are visibly shaking, and yet somehow nothing collapses. So why doesn't a football stadium fail when 80,000 people jump all at once? The surprising answer is that engineers aren't actually most worried about the weight. They're worried about the rhythm. Think about it this way. Imagine a child on a swing. One push doesn't do much, but if you keep pushing at exactly the right moment, the swing goes higher and higher. Not because you're pushing harder, but because each push adds to the movement that's already there. Structures can behave in a surprisingly similar manner. When fans are simply sitting in their seats, the stadium is carrying a huge amount of weight, but that weight is mostly constant, so engineers don't worry much about that. We can fairly easily design for that. The real challenge begins when thousands of people start moving together. Each jump sends a small pulse of force into the structure. If those pulses arrive at just the right rhythm, they can start reinforcing the stadium's natural movement, just like pushing a swing at exactly the right moment. And that's why engineers don't just design stadiums to be strong. They design them to control these vibrations. Because when 80,000 people celebrate a goal, the question is not whether the stadium can carry their weight. It's whether it can handle that rhythm. And once you know that, watching a bouncing stadium becomes a lot more impressive. Have you ever noticed that some football stadiums feel unbelievably loud? Not just noisy, loud. The kind of loud that you can feel in your chest. And what's interesting is that it's not always the stadium with the biggest crowd. So why does this happen? The answer is simple. Think about the difference between singing in your bedroom and singing in your bathroom. Same voice, same person, but the bathroom sounds much louder. Why is this the case? Because bathrooms are smaller and constructed from hard, reflective surfaces like tile, glass, and mirrors. These materials have low sound absorption, meaning that the noise bounces back to your ears instead of being soaked up by soft furnishings like carpets and curtains. A football stadium works in exactly the same way. When thousands of supporters chant, they create a massive amount of acoustic energy. But the real secret isn't just the crowd, it's the architecture. The stadium is like a giant amplifier. The roof reflects sound, the concrete bowl reflects sound, and the geometry of the structure is often specifically designed to redirect those sound waves back toward the pitch and toward the crowd. Instead of disappearing into the night sky, that noise is trapped and forced back to bounce around the interior. Furthermore, there is a psychological phenomenon called the Lombard effect. As the environment gets louder, you and I increasingly increase our voice and our vocal effort to be heard. The architecture keeps the sound level high, and that high level drives us to scream even louder, creating a self-reinforcing loop of intensity. That is why two stadiums with similar crowd sizes can feel completely different. One allows sound to escape, the other traps it, focuses it, and amplifies it. Once you understand the engineering behind the roar, you'll never hear a football crowd the same way again. Hi everyone, the South African engineer here. If this explanation was useful, please like the video, subscribe, and turn on your notifications. Every subscription is a brick used to build the Engineering Explained house. Let's build this house together. Thank you for watching.